BMW has great history in small boxer-looking coupes. And yet it's actually pretty brave of BMW to keep the faith. Most other makers are walking away from affordable sporty piston-engined cars in favor of crossovers and electrics. Plus, the very existence of this 2 Series Coupe means there will be an all-new M2. Internet, the upvotes start here. The 2 Series Coupe is dressed to impress. It's short, and much of that length is given over to the bonnet. The cabin and boot lid are abbreviated and squeezed rearward. The nose is bluff, the grille, mercifully, if you care not for the 4 Series, is shallow. The wheel arches bulge like cartoon pecs. You don't have to look hard to see 2002 Turbo, 1 Series M, and M2. This is a car with a visible and fizzy history. Actually, no. It feels very much like a 4 Series. Specifically, the first version of the 2 Series Coupe we test is an M240iX drive. And it feels very much like an M440iX drive. Now if you delve beneath the skin, that's no great surprise. The 2 Series uses the engines, transmissions, and suspension from the 4 Series. Just a shorter wheelbase and slightly different suspension tube. Emphasis on the slightly, the changes are mostly to compensate the different weights. So, it's a quick but relatively subdued car. Excellent engine, terrific transmission, great grip, relaxing refinement. All available alliterations. The M440iX drive is 4WD only. But there are 2 rear drive versions, the 220i and 220d. In the UK each comes in just 1 trim level, with comparatively few options. America also gets a 230i, but we're denied that in the UK. Still, since 230i and 220i both use what is fundamentally the same 2.0-litre 4-cylinder engine, chip-tuning firms will be a temptation for 220i owners. To be clear, the 2 Series Coupe respects BMW's heritage with a longitudinal engine. Its 2-wheel drive versions are RWD. That makes it a totally different kettle of fish from the 4-door 2 Series Gran Coupe and the 2 Series Active Tourer, which are transverse-engined FWD. This generation of 2 Coupe is built in Mexico, by the way, because the Americans love them. With just 3 models to choose from, it's a pretty narrow range for a BMW. But to be honest, it's a joy it exists at all. The obvious rivals are nearly all based on front-drive hatchbacks. Here's a pure coupe that'll warm the heart of traditionalists. It's a very finessed thing to drive, yet superbly refined for daily use. Not a sports car but a sporting car. Oh, and did we mention fast? The M240iX drive is as powerful as the 2016 launch version of the M2. And every 2 Series Coupe is cheaper by a useful margin than the equivalent if larger 4 Series Coupe. Given the 2 Series probably met its engineers' target so closely, it seems a bit grumpy to be criticizing it. But here goes. We're struggling to see why, having gone to the trouble of building a car that looks so different from the 4 Series, they didn't make one that feels different. Sure, they were using the same mechanicals, but they could still have made more separation through the chassis tuning. We wanted the 2 Series to feel more live and sharp, to give more feedback, even at the expense of long-distance comfort. The 2 Series looks like a little tearaway, but doesn't feel like that. In the M240iX drive, the big 6 cylinders refinement strikes you first. During the warm-up miles, it's all about a demure hum and sweet harmonics. But fire it towards the red line and it does serious work with plenty of bite and enough bark to make you realize why this format of engine has a special place in history. There's 374 brake horsepower, enough of a power increase over the old 240i to overcome the inertia of 4WD. It gets to 62 miles per hour in 4.3 seconds. Okay, it's not a perfect motor. Whisper it, but turbo lag makes an appearance below 3,000 RPM. But you have to seek it out by manually holding high gear ratios. Otherwise the auto box will hide the matter by smoothly shifting down. The main cornering sensation is of huge grip. The steering is conservatively geared, and very mild understeer begins proceedings. Steering feel is too subtle for a sports car. At road speeds in the M240iX drive, you'll not overwhelm the traction unless the corner's tight or the road wet. But there's a sense of the power squeezing rearward, the back half of the car shouldering the effort, and absolutely shoving you out of a bend. Even the ride is pretty civilized, at least on the M240iX drive's 500 pounds adaptive dampers. No particular sense of short wheelbase pitch. The whole thing is quiet and smooth in the daily grind. BMW says rear-wheel drive and a 6-cylinder inline engine are unique in the segment. Don't take that at face value. You can have a straight 6.2 Series Coupe, and you can have one with RWD, but they won't be the same car. The only pure RWD ones are the 4 cylinders. As the 220i weighs 200 kilograms less than the M240iX drive, it promises to be a car of different character, and we're looking forward to some quality time with it. Even if a 0 to 62 time of 7.5 seconds sounds a bit meek these days. Now some economy numbers. The 220i makes a creditable 44.8 miles per gallon in the official tests, 4144 g/km and up, spec dependent. The 220d diesel gets to 60.1 miles per gallon and as little as 122 g/km, which makes you wonder why diesel is dying when it gets to 62 miles per hour in 6.9 seconds.